Alright, I want to start this video by explaining that GravityDrop is my friend. I do talk to him often and I play with him quite a lot. I've also had my own community reach out to me for clarification on this topic, and I typically don't want to cover drama, but this situation felt important enough to talk on. Now, to explain the situation, we have GravityDrop, the myth-busting YouTuber who often covers stuff on the finals, who tends to just use experimental ways to break the game and prove some myths that his community asks him. And in one of his recent videos, he discussed crosshair placement and where the bullet is placed on your screen, and it led to some confusion. Let me just roll the clip.
This is why many players use third-party software or just remove their center crosshair dot. This will change in the future since the developers have acknowledged this and even encouraged third-party crosshair software.
To which Ottr ended up making a short titled, "This YouTuber Will Get You Banned," and then stated this.
Huh? This clip is from the Mythbusters series on YouTube, and saying this is encouraged is really weird. Because the finals developers have themselves said that using third-party software which gives you an unfair advantage, like a crosshair overlay, is bannable. And I'd say it's insane to say that developers are encouraging it when your entire video channel is about dispelling myths, not spreading them.
Gravity replied again, explaining what is said in the terms of service. As you can see here, feel free to pause and read it yourself. Now, I've done my own research on this topic so I can show direct quotes and show the terms of service, along with state some facts on the topic in general, so I can hopefully clear this up a bit more. Embark has stated they will not say anything on the topic and will simply refer to the terms of service. The confusion has been brought to their attention multiple times, and they have said in response that they will change the terms of service if things change. However, the terms of service regarding crosshairs has not changed. The community moderators do say that it is bannable, but don't seem to mention exactly what programs are being referred to. Now, it is important to understand there are both fair and unfair uses of various overlays and programs. There are some overlays and programs that have intentions of giving the player in question accessibility options, such as programs that are used to rebind specific inputs to new devices for someone who may use their mouth or their feet in order to play games, which often is made by some specific company that makes a very specific device that is targeted towards accessibility for people that have a disability or impairment, which is why some overlays and third-party software is allowed in their terms of service, along with a lot of other cases, but this is just one very easy to understand example. In the case of visual impairment, some people may use stuff like heightened saturation and custom crosshairs in order to achieve something that they can see clearly and make games, again, more accessible to them. This is not considered cheating. This is why some programs may get whitelisted by developers through their anti-cheat, and these programs are allowed to be used. There is the case where some of these whitelisted programs can be used in a malicious way, such as programs that are meant to be targeted towards rebinding something, like I was saying, to a specific device that is made for people who need to use some weird contraption that we aren't commonly using, like a mouse or a controller. Some people can use these programs in order to rebind it to, say, another computer that is using AI in order to play the game and cheat for them. Obviously, that program that they're using is allowed, but there is misuse of it. This is why the developers have stated that the final decision is on them, and that's the reason why there is a bit of a confusion around that, and they tend to not want to be so direct in saying that it is or isn't allowed. Developers have updated their anti-cheat a lot since initial launch, as if you guys were there, you probably ran into tons of cheaters back then. People were even advertising cheats in their names, and we've seen a pretty big improvement to their anti-cheat, albeit we are always hoping for a better anti-cheat. But through all of those updates, they have not blacklisted crosshair programs such as Crosshair X, Crosshair V2, etc. And these are programs that are on Steam, which means that it would actually be extremely easy for them to add that to their anti-cheat to detect, meaning that when you start the game, if you have Crosshair X, it would simply say that you are running a cheat program and it's not going to let you play. Most of the time in these cases, it wouldn't actually ban you, it would just say there is something incompatible. In the same sense that if you're running like Cheat Engine, if you run Cheat Engine to play single player games where you want to just goof around, if you have that program open, most multiplayer games will actually just not even let you boot up the game. It will say that you're not allowed. It might ban you, but I would say for the most part, it won't ban you. It will just warn you that, you know, you're running something and it won't let you play. I would say if they really wanted to, it would be something very easy for them to add to their blacklist of programs that they already have been expanding on. On this note, we also know of multiple ban waves that have been happening over time and time again where people were falsely banned. This has led to some confusion about overlays because some of the people who got falsely banned had crosshair overlays. Multiple people who had their ban lifted were using crosshair overlays and kept using them after the ban, as the false ban was not because of the overlay and was simply a mistake that hit more than just crosshair overlay users. The tricky part about being a developer and making any claim is that someone can use it against you, which is why they simply refer to the terms of service. My interpretation of this is pretty simple. Does the overlay in question give you an unfair advantage and provide you with something that is unintended for the game? A crosshair is a built-in feature in the game, so I wouldn't consider a different crosshair as unintended. However, there are malicious crosshair overlay programs that might highlight players, move your crosshair towards those, essentially becoming an aimbot, and I would say that crosshair overlay is obviously not allowed. So I do think it is a gray area, which is why there hasn't really been a clear statement. So let me sum this up for anyone still questioning it. Does the terms of service say a crosshair overlay will get you banned? No. Is there a crosshair overlay that will get you banned? Yes. Is an overlay an unfair advantage? That depends on your overlay. Can I use this overlay? Use at your own risk and verify with terms of service that it is okay. Now to throw some anecdotal evidence, which I'm just leaving at the end as it is not meant to be taken as a reason to do or to not do something. I just felt like it was important to throw in some extra information. I personally know multiple people with multiple days played, some of them in the top 500, that use crosshair overlays and have been never banned. They've also been using these for a very long time. As of recently, you can see GravityDrop had used an overlay to test his myth, and his account has not been flagged or banned. I had personally used Crosshair X during the beta and early launch for a bit, and have never been banned or had any warnings or anything from the devs. I don't use it anymore, but I did use it early on because I knew about the bullet registration issues and wanted to see how it felt with a custom crosshair. If you're wondering why I don't use one, I pretty early on after launch stopped using it as I simply didn't like the way it looked in my videos, and I felt like without a crosshair overlay, the gameplay felt pretty similar as I got used to it pretty fast. I personally would prefer a simple yellow dot or a small white plus sign, as that is typically my go-to crosshair in every other FPS game I play. It's just my preference, but it isn't going to make a difference in how well I perform, so I just went the quote-unquote content route. I've also heard from inside sources that the developers are going to be addressing this soon, but don't take my word on that. Now that this is out of the way and back to the discussion at hand and some points I'd like to make, be nice. The Finals is a wonderful game, and in terms of content creators, we are a pretty small group. Creating witch hunts where we publicly shame each other is an unhealthy road to go down. I would encourage creators to reach out to one another if you found them making any mistakes in their video and spreading misinformation, and let them deal with it there. Of course, you can inform your community about misinformation, but you can do it in a more professional way. GravityDrop shouldn't have said encouraged by the devs, but his channel is an extremely positive and uplifting channel, and it was one small mistake due to misinformation. On that note, please check out his channel and subscribe because his content is actually amazing. And if you are into the finals, you are probably going to love his myth-busting series. Remember to be kind out there and do your research before jumping to conclusions. And I will see you in the finals.